Hello, my name is Linnell LaRousse, and I went to study abroad in Ireland in the spring of 2019. I chose to go because I felt like it was a really good experience, and while it is a lot of money to some people, it's definitely worth it because you will never get an experience like that anywhere else. It was great to be able to get closer to my classmates from Wentworth and to meet people from Ireland and a bunch of other countries in Europe because they had such a close-knit international community. We were able to travel a lot of places that we wouldn't have never been able to if we had stayed in school in Boston. Travel was very, very cheap. We had a lot of free time to be able to travel. Classes in Ireland were very interesting. They were slightly different than our classes in Boston. The teachers were a little bit more casual, and we didn't have much homework, so it gave you lots of free time to travel. So Waterford was a very small, kind of quaint town. It had a pretty decent-sized city center that had quite a few different shops in it. The main shop that we spent a lot of time at was Primark because it was good to get any kind of essentials for your dorm, like bedding, towels, clothes that you might have missed on bringing with you. It was also right in the center with a Starbucks. There was a McDonald's if you wanted to go there, but there was tons of other kind of small restaurants that were very good. There was lots of really good food in Waterford. If you're looking for something to do, you can always walk up and down the harbor. That was very pretty and picturesque. There was also there's a Viking museum, which was very interesting, as well as the Waterford Crystal Factory, which was a very interesting tour to take. The opportunity to go on the Greenway and do a bike tour that can take you all the way to Cork, I believe. Not sure about that one, but you can go on a bike tour that ranges anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour and a half. I guess it's very beautiful. I didn't get a chance to do that one. If I had any recommendations, it would definitely bring lots of money with you. You're on co-op right before. You're going to be spending a lot of money on travel, but you're also going to be spending money on, like I said, any clothes you forgot, groceries, because your dorm is going to have a kitchen. That's another thing that was very interesting was the dorms. You have a kitchen you share with a few other students. Most likely they're going to be other international students. Your room is a single room with a bathroom in your dorm, or in your room, so you don't have to share a bathroom with anyone, which is really nice. Rooms were a pretty decent size, and you have a pretty big closet to store all of your clothes and keep your suitcase on top of if you need to, so you won't be too cramped for space, so that was really nice. Getting to class was about a 20-minute walk from your dorm. It was all sidewalk, and you walk past a few gas stations if you'd like to grab any breakfast in the morning, so that was really nice. The dining hall on campus was also very good. They didn't have a dining hall plan, so you're going to use your money like a credit card or cash, but the food was very reasonably priced and much, much better than BD, that's for sure. There's also lots to do with the school. They make sure they throw a lot of events for international students to try to get you to bond not only with the Irish students that you're in class with, but all the other international students who are also there to kind of meet other people and see what another country is like. At the end of our trip, at least that's the way it worked out for us, we had 2 weeks at the end where we had our first week was for us to travel freely as we wanted to, and then the second week we met up with a teacher. In our case it was Professor Carney, and he brought us around to different job sites. We started in London and we went to AECOM's site for the Crossrail, which is their new line on the London Underground. We got to see Paddington Station. It was an interesting kind of challenging site, and to be all underground was very interesting, especially in a very old city like that. We don't get to see a lot of underground stations in Boston, so it was interesting to see something like that, especially one that was so close to a very historic building, so that was a challenge for them. The next site we saw was an office building renovation by Skanska that was trying to not disturb a very busy metropolitan area, which is very hard to do with construction, as you all know. After that, we then flew to Frankfurt, Germany, and we had a little bit of time there to kind of explore the city, but we also went to see a data center by DPR that was all concrete construction, so that was interesting to see because we learned about that in school, but again, not something you really see a lot of here in America, or at least any of us have really seen. Then we took a train to Amsterdam, and we saw another data center there that was being done by DPR. This one was interesting because there wasn't really much of a designer on that building. The DPR, as the construction manager, also had to be the designer, so that was a challenge for them. But again, we had some free time in Amsterdam, so that was nice. So even though you're trying to be professional and go see job site tours, you don't have to worry about not being able to have a good time when you're not on those. So you can learn a lot more about construction, and it was very interesting to see how that was in other countries, because you think how much different could construction really be. But for example, in Frankfurt, they had 7 different languages on their job site, so that's a challenge that we don't really see a lot here, but something that they definitely have to deal with there. So it was very interesting to see the different challenges they face in a field that you can't imagine would be much different than what we face here. But it was very interesting, and we got to learn a lot about the companies and see more construction in practice, which is always a good time. I think my biggest takeaway from the whole experience was definitely there's a lot more to the world than you think there is. You think that there's a lot, but once you're out there and you get to explore it yourself, it's much different than you think it is, and it's interesting to see how different the world can be, but also how similar the world can be. So I feel like I really learned a lot, and I'm able to come away from this experience, I don't want to say a better person, but like I've learned a lot, and I feel better for the experience for going, and I feel more rounded, and I definitely recommend it to anyone. There's supposed to be 15 spots to go, and I definitely recommend you try to grab one of those spots, because it's life-changing, and anyone who doesn't go is super jealous that they didn't, so you should be one of those people who did go.
Hi, my name is Lily Clancy, and I went on study abroad in Waterford, Ireland for the construction management department. I loved my time in Ireland and just my whole experience in Europe. I think that the main reason that I went to study abroad is I was so fascinated by this opportunity to travel for an entire semester. Having already completed 3 co-ops before going on the study abroad experience, I knew that I had worked so hard, saved up a lot of money, and now is my time to really just have fun and explore a whole nother continent. While in Ireland, we first arrived in January and went to Waterford, which was going to be our home base for the entire semester. And we were brought from Dublin Airport to our dorms, and our whole group got to live on the exact same floor in this dorm building, which was really awesome because we were all able to walk to class together, walk downtown, just explore the city of Waterford all together, which is really nice because a lot of us in the group didn't really know each other at all before even going abroad, so it kind of forced us to become like a close-knit group and befriend one another, which was really awesome. Something that surprised me when I went to Waterford was how many other international students do this same abroad type program from all different countries. So I was able to meet people from Argentina, from the Netherlands, Spain, even other American students who are over there abroad that I just had no idea I would even be introduced to. So it was really nice to meet these friends from like all over the world, all different backgrounds, and we're all just students here for the same reason, to, you know, learn about Ireland, to meet new people, to travel. So we ended up really becoming close with some of these other people, and we were able to take trips all around Ireland with them. So it was really nice that now, even coming off of study abroad, I have all these connections over in Europe, whether they want to come visit me or I can visit them. It's really nice just to know some extra people around the world. I also got to befriend a lot of the other Irish people, the classes that we got to take there. I felt like Wentworth had really prepared us for the type of work that they were doing in these other students who were also construction management students at Waterford Institute of Technology. But they did do a group project. We did do a lot of group work over there. And one project in particular, they would take one American student from our Wentworth group and put them in a group of all other Irish students from different different majors. So in my group, I had a couple Irish CM students, I had an architect student, I had an estimating student, and we were given a project that we had to be presenting on every week. We'd have to meet several times to just keep working towards this proposal that we would then present on every week. So it was really cool to see how construction management works in Ireland, because it not only they don't use the same standard system as us, but there's just a lot of different things that were very different, just different words and how they act and how they do meetings and stuff. It's really fascinating because before going I had no idea how different that culture could be. But coming off of a semester long working with these other Irish students, again, I became really good friends with them, and we would end up, going out together on the weekends, or they would give us tips of where to travel around the country, and vice versa. They would ask us about like America, about Boston, what it's like to be an American. Like, it was really cool to kind of see that different perspective. Other than classes, which it felt like we didn't have like a ton of class time because most classes were only like once a week, and the homework was like super manageable too, which was really nice. Every weekend we would travel like all around Europe, and most of us, sometimes as large of a group of 7 of us would go on a trip to Budapest for the weekend, or it would just be 2 of us going on a quick 2-day trip to Prague. It didn't matter. Like, if you wanted to travel that weekend, someone else in the group wants to travel too. So that was like really nice to know that if you want to stay back and have a chill weekend, maybe a friend or family member is coming to visit you that week, that's fine, stay in Ireland. But if you do want to go somewhere else in Europe, you have all these other people who are also eager to go too. So it was really cool that we all got along and we were able to travel all over the country together, because we did. Just in my time there, I got to see 9 different countries, which was really amazing. I couldn't have even imagined that I'd be able to travel that much. And coming back to America, like, it really just gives me, a different perspective of Boston, of Wentworth. Like, I love to live here, and I love this country, obviously, but it was really cool to see how other people live, other people my exact same age in college. They're seniors in college too, and just see how they live such different lifestyles. Like, it really opened my eyes. And now moving forward, about to graduate, I've put on my resume that I did study abroad, and it comes up as a really good kind of conversation starter in interviews. People are always really fascinated. Oh, where did you study abroad? What did you learn? And especially since we didn't just take like humanities classes over there, I got to learn how they do construction in Ireland, in Europe. Like, it was really awesome.
Hi, I'm Christian Giuliano. I'm a senior in construction management, and last year I chose to spend the semester abroad in Ireland. Just want to say it's an amazing experience. I highly recommend it. It gives you the opportunity to kind of submerge yourself in a foreign culture and learn their ways of life and their ways of education, and at the same time see the world and see many other cultures. Some advice I'd give any upcoming students planning on to attend the trip would be to, I know Professor Sumner might not want me to say this, but school is not as serious as it is over here. They're a lot more laid back, and no matter what, if you do your work, you're gonna pass your classes. So my advice would be to go out and see the world as much as possible, because it really is once in a lifetime opportunity. So the class setup is, like I mentioned earlier, a lot more laid back. There is one class actually which is a group project where you actually work with different disciplines. So you work with architects, engineers, and various other majors in a group with different Irish students, and that's kind of cool because you're working with BIM, which is a software we don't usually use over here. So you're learning a new software, and at the same time you get to work with different students from a different country, and you get to know them, and you actually get to form some friendships that could last a very long time, which is really interesting. Another thing that was cool was at the end of the trip, you get to go visit various different job sites with a professor from Wentworth, and that's cool because you learn about a lot of different, construction activities in school in Boston, in the United States, and you really get to see a different perspective on things over there because you see how they do things differently and how they do things similarly, and that's really interesting. So some important things to note about the city of Waterford is it's a very small, more like rural town just south of Dublin, about like 3 hours south of Dublin, and it has all your essentials, like your grocery stores. It has Aldi, which is right near the school, which is really nice because it's very cheap to buy groceries to cook in your apartment. It has, even has like fast food chains like McDonald's and various other Irish fast food chains if you're looking for that. So it kind of has everything you need, and it's a very small area. And another thing is there's it's really easy to get around in Waterford. You can just kind of walk for the most part, and then also to Dublin and various other parts of Ireland, there's buses that run constantly. We used a bus company called J.J. Kavanaugh, and that was very affordable, and you could even buy the tickets on your phone round trip, so you can plan accordingly, like when you're leaving and when you're coming home. And that was a huge help for us. I highly recommend using them. So another cool part of the abroad experience is that it gives you the opportunity to travel all over Europe, and you have 4 months to do so, and you have quite a bit of vacation time from school over at Waterford. And my advice for that is to don't book your trips prior to the trip. Book them when you're over there, so that way you can coordinate with your fellow classmates on where they're going, and you might even hear about new opportunities of where to travel from people over there, because that's what I did, and I found that better because I had friends that booked the trips prior, like way in advance, and they struggled because sometimes they were stuck in a trip when everyone else was going somewhere else. You kind of want to keep your options open and kind of play it by ear. That's kind of how I did it, and I think that worked out the best for me. And then traveling wise, I think you should take any opportunity to travel as you can. I mean, when we were over there, we didn't take one weekend off. We saw something different every single weekend, and that's kind of the way I think you should do it. I mean, and even if you aren't into traveling, you could have there's plenty to do in Ireland. There's something to do. There's different counties, different towns in Ireland you can visit every weekend, so that's not really an issue, but I highly recommend getting out and seeing Europe. Ryanair, since Ireland's an island, you have to fly to different parts of Europe. So Ryanair is a very affordable airline. It's just kind of the basic plane. It's not your most fancy flight, but it's going to get you airfare for cheaper than €100, which is unheard of back home. So that's huge. And you can stay at hostels, which are very cheap. I mean, you can get hostels for €20 a night or less, and that's another thing. You don't have to worry about having a high hotel expense. All right, now I'm going to give you guys a couple of hotspots in Ireland that we traveled throughout our time there. Definitely, you should see Dublin. Dublin is probably number one on your list, but it's a city. It's kind of it's like every other city. But you should definitely see it at least once. It was pretty cool checking it out on St. Patrick's Day because they kind of go nuts for that. My personal favorite of all time is Killarney, which is like a smaller town. I think it's not really sure geographically where it is, but I had the most fun there. There's a lot of really nice pubs there, and there's the Ring of Kerry's not too far by, so that's a really, really fun trip. You can go up there. You can see the Muckross estate, which is like a fancy estate that's been there for hundreds of years, and that's really cool to check out. The Cliffs of Moher in Galway is definitely a must. Galway is another beautiful, just seaside town. You'll really enjoy it there. There's good seafood there. There's a lot of good pubs. There's a lot to do there. Then you can easily get a bus or a tour or something to the Cliffs of Moher from there. And the Cliffs of Moher are just breathtaking. It's really they're amazing. And then also another place you should check out, believe it or not, is Northern Ireland. I went to Belfast, and you can see the Giant's Causeway up there. That's something that not everyone usually gets to get to, but I think you should definitely make an effort to get up there because it's a little different than Southern Ireland, but it has a lot of great things about it. So I would definitely suggest checking that out.